Namaste. My name is Sita. I'm your instructor. And today we're going to be doing some stretching and some strengthening here for your core, for your hips and lower back, and for your legs. Okay, we're also going to do a little bit of work here in the upper body to strengthen those lats, those long muscles in your back that hold your chest up nice and high so that the oxygen can get to your thyroid here, your heart, and your brain. Okay, and this is so important, especially as time goes on, to keep your brain functioning, your heart strong, okay, and of course your thyroid, your metabolism, okay. So the Amana Yoga method introduces you to the real aspects of your body that need attention over time. Okay, and it's geared around keeping those life force centers working for regeneration and strength for the long haul. Okay, now the position I'm in right now is stretching actually my knees, my hips, the tibialis, which is your shin muscle here. It's stretching the top of your foot and your ankles. Okay, so this is a flexibility stretch. It's also stretching and aligning the lower back. And if you cup your knees and push your chest gently towards the sky, take a breath. Pull your shoulders back and down and see how tall you can get that spine when you exhale. And this time, as you take that breath and you pull your shoulder blades together, when you exhale, lift your chest and bow gently forward here. Now you don't want to hunch and stick your neck out when you do this. You want to keep your chest up nice and high so your spine stays nice and straight as you hinge forward from your hips. And this is going to just really give a good stretch here to both hips, especially the one on top, okay? And you can really feel that. So don't lunge into this, especially if you have a sciatica issue or anything like that. You want to just go to that very first point of resistance to the stretch and stop. Stop moving, just breathe. Breathe into the places that are resisting the stretch. Only go forward if your body wants to go forward any further. Otherwise, you just stay where you are and just breathe. Breathe. Releasing any tension here as you exhale, lifting your chest as you exhale to get that oxygen to your brain. Don't hunch. Keep that spine nice and straight. And on that third exhalation, lift with your upper abdominal to bring your upper body gently back to center. You can feel where both hips have stretched out, especially the one on top, and that would be my right hip. Okay. Now I'm going to switch them out. So if that was your left leg on top, it's going to be your right leg on top, okay? But we're going to put the opposite foot under, the opposite on top. And as you curl those legs, you will see that flexibility is a little different on the opposite side, okay? So don't try to force the right side to do what the left side did or the left to do what the right side did. Really listen to your body and only go as far as it feels comfortable for your knees here, for your ankles, for your hips. And if that's just out like so, so be it, okay? Over time, those knees will stretch out, those ankles will stretch out, that tibialis will stretch out, okay? But for those of you who have been doing yoga for a while, you're going to move into the stretch a little bit more, okay? And as you do that, you're going to feel the stretch a little bit more in your ankles here and in your shins. Lift your chest when you take your breath. Keep your chest high when you exhale and move very slowly and very gently towards the wall in front of you. Now this is going to open up those hips, so you be very, very gentle with those hips. And breathe into the hips here. Breathe into the lower back here. Breathe into your knees. Now I do have another class up where we just have one leg at a time up. One leg, the bottom leg is extended out. So you can take it one leg at a time, okay? And you can look that class up on the website as well. But this is for a little bit more advanced group here with that both knees bent, okay? And I wanted to have something for everyone, so this is just a little extension of that stretch. But only go as far as it feels good to your body. Breathe into the places that are resisting the stretch. always exhale, lifting your chest upward. Don't hunch and lower your upper body when you exhale. Lift that chest upward as you exhale. And if you feel like you want to bow forward a little bit, always lift your chest as you go forward. Now, coming out of this stretch, take a breath and lift with your upper abdominal to bring your upper body to center. Exhale up. And that means to lift your chest as you exhale here, okay? You're not going to crunch down when you exhale. Lift that chest upward so that energy gets to your brain. Now, very gently uncross those legs, and you can feel where those hips and knees have stretched out. We're just going to get the heels here to your mat, and then rock and roll is coming in and out, in and out. But when you do this, most people, they'll go out and in, out and in. I want you to go in and out, so that you're really using your core muscles here to rock your legs. You're not throwing your legs out. You're using those core muscles to rock those legs. And you can feel that right at the base of your stomach working. Keep your chest nice and high. And loosen up here in your hips and lower back, okay? Get your hands back there and give a little rub, because you know I like to rub. It gets that life force moving, and that's what we need, okay? Rubbing there in your hips, your lower back. And if your knees are tight, rub a little bit in your knees, because we're going to stretch the knees out a little bit today, okay? Okay. Now let's sit here on one hip. We're going to sit on the left hip to start, okay? And that left leg is kind of squared off here in front of you. Make sure you're sitting on your sit bone. You're not sitting on the outside of that hip there, but you're actually sitting on the sit bone. So push that hip under you, and you'll find that your core will engage, and it'll be easier for you to sit up straight. The other knee is bent and the foot is behind you. Okay, it's going towards the wall behind you. Okay, so that you kind of feel that stretch here in the front of your thigh, and breathe into that. Now, for many, this again is a hip stretch. Okay, it's just stretching the hips in a little bit different direction. We're going to lean into this a little bit here. And as you lean, don't lean on your elbow. Don't put weight on your neck, but rest your forearm to the mat and pull your shoulders back and down. So if there's any weight, it's going to fall to your chest here. It's going to fall here to your oblique in your upper abdominal, in that upper body. There's not going to be any weight on your neck or on your shoulder. Okay? The other hand, this is only if you want to extend the stretch. Now you can inch that foot back to extend the stretch here in the front of your thigh. And this is going to stretch your quadriceps. It's going to stretch your hip flexor out. Okay? It's going to stretch that hip open a little bit here. So breathe into that. If you are flexible, only if you're flexible, you can bend that knee and get that hand to that foot. And then stretch back. That's going to stretch your shoulder out a little bit. Now I'm going to just turn this way so you can see what I'm talking about. It's going to stretch that shoulder a little bit. It's going to stretch the shin. It's going to stretch the top of your foot here. And it's going to go a little bit deeper here in your quadriceps. Don't do that if you haven't been doing yoga for a while. If you're just getting started, just inch that foot back. And you're going to feel that stretch in those same areas, okay? It's just not going to be as extreme. And again, keep the weight off that shoulder on the left here by lifting your chest so that you're catching the weight here with the muscles here under your rib cage, okay? And you just want to breathe into that. You can take that top arm and drop it back behind you, lifting your chest here so you get a stretch through your shoulder here. That's for beginners. Intermediate to advanced, you would probably get your hand to that foot here and then bring it back so that you're stretching here in your shin, in your ankle here, and in the top of your foot. Your quadriceps are stretching and your knee, your hip flexor is stretching. Only stay as long as it's comfortable for about 3 deep breaths. And on that third exhalation, tighten that abdominal. We're going to release the foot and lift with your abdominal muscles to bring you back to center. Bring that knee in a little bit. And we're going to cross over. Taking a breath. Now you can feel how that's stretched out really good here in the front of the hip, down the front of that leg, and the front of the shin here, and the ankle. Good stretch in the top of the foot too, okay? But again, take it in increments. If you're just getting started, we're going to do the other side, okay? You're going to sit here on your right side now and make sure you're not sitting on the outside of that hip. You want to get that hand under there and scoop that hip up under you so that your core engages to hold weight, okay? The left knee is bent this time, and the left foot is going towards the wall behind you. And right away you start to feel those hips kind of stretching out, okay? Now pull your shoulders down. And we're going to rest the forearm, not onto the shoulder, but the forearm to the mat here on your right. Pulling your shoulder back and down. So if there's any weight, it's going to fall to your bicep, it's going to fall to your chest here, your lat, your oblique, and your upper abdominal. Those are the muscles in your upper body that are meant to carry weight, okay? You don't want to hang on the elbow, hang on your neck. No, that will hurt your body. You want to lift your chest so that those muscles under your rib cage engage. And you want to pull your shoulder down here on the right so that you can engage those muscles, okay? On the left, if you're a beginner, you just want to inch that left foot back towards the wall behind you, just enough to feel that stretch open up in that left hip, okay? Don't roll your shoulders forward, but keep your chest high, okay? And you will feel the hip flexor stretching here on your left. You will feel your quadriceps stretching. You'll feel your knee stretching and your tibialis, which is your shin muscle. And if you're a beginner, that's a good beginning. Feel that abdominal holding the weight, okay? Intermediate to advanced only. If you're used to bending that knee, you can get that hand to the top of the foot and then bring the foot back behind you. That's going to stretch out the shoulder. It's going to stretch out the top of that foot. It's going to stretch out your ankle, okay? Remember, don't roll your weight to your elbow, but keep the forearm on the mat so that any weight on that right side is falling here to the larger muscles in your upper body. And breathe, breathe, breathe into the places that are tight for you. Feel that abdominal rolling in towards your spine as you exhale, lift your chest. And this is stretching across the left shoulder here and down your neck there on your left, okay? Drop your right ear towards your mat here and pull those shoulders back and down. So this stretch now is going up into the neck here and shoulder. Breathe into the places that are resisting the stretch. And as you exhale for the third time, pulling the shoulders down, we're going to release the foot. Bring the knee forward. Okay, use your abdominal to catch the weight when you bring your upper body gently back to center. Roll your shoulders up. Take a breath. Bring your shoulder blades together. Exhaling up. So you're pushing all that energy up here to your heart, to your thyroid, and to your brain. Okay? All right. Now, with the legs crossed, you can feel that stretch in your inner thighs. And I am one for, let's open the legs here, because I'm one for rubbing the places that are tight in your body. And you want to open your legs nice and wide here so that you feel that stretch in the inside of your thigh. That's your adductor, okay, and that's the inner thigh here. And this is where arteries run through your body here. So just opening your legs like this is a nice cardio stretch. You want to give a little bit of a rub there to those inner thighs and down into the meniscus there, the knee, that little fleshy area there around your knee, the inside of your knee, and down into the calf a little bit, okay? Again, make sure you're sitting on your sit bone. You're not rolling back onto your hips, and you're lifting your chest so that you feel the abdominal holding the upper body up, okay? Not your spine, but your abdominal muscles, okay? Now give a little rub there to those inner thighs and make sure those inner thighs are all warmed up. You can roll your ankles here, okay? Using the shin and the calf here to roll your ankles, and that's when you feel those legs getting really strong, okay? And there's so many simple ways that you can strengthen your legs for balance. The tibialis, the shin muscle, and the calf are balancing muscles. Okay, so you want to make sure that your brain is wired to those muscles and that you can move those muscles, and those muscles are strong for balance when we do our standing things. Okay, so we're going to push the heels out. Make sure you're sitting on your sit bone. Knees and toes are in alignment with the ceiling so that they align with your hips. They're not rolled out, but they're straight up. Okay, your chest is nice and high. Take a breath. Now when you exhale, pull your shoulder blades together and lift your chest. And you can cup the back of your legs there with the palms of your hands when you hinge forward here from your lower abdominal and lift your chest, pressing those thighs very gently towards the mat. Now you're stretching here the back of your legs, the back of your knees, okay? And you're also strengthening here the hips and the muscles that support your lower back. So don't bend your spine, but keep your spine up nice and tall. Press those thighs gently towards the mat. Take a breath, lifting your chest. Exhale, press your thighs to the mat, and then bring your chest towards the wall in front of you. Not towards the floor, but towards the wall in front of you so you keep a nice straight spine. You only want to go as far as it's comfortable for your body. Now, some of you are not flexible, and it's hard for you to sit in this posture, so you kind of lean back. So if you can bring the floor to you by placing a block in front of you. And there are different size blocks. There's the shorter one, smaller one, and the thicker, bigger one. I like to use the thicker one if I'm going to bring the floor to me. That's the idea. And here you can bring the floor to you by resting that block in front of you here and resting your palms on the block. Pulling your shoulders back and down when you bow forward and press your thighs gently to the mat. Feel that stretch and strengthen the back of your legs, your hips, and your lower back. Take a breath. Lift your chest, press your thighs to the mat as you exhale. Now draw your toes in towards your knees here a little bit. And that's going to stretch out the lower part of your leg here, your calf, your Achilles, okay? And you want to, if you are flexible and your hands reach your toes or the balls of your feet, you can reach out here and bring those toes in a little bit towards your knees. Now this is going to take the stretch into the upper body a little bit, and it's going to keep your spine straight now. Stretch out your shoulders here in your middle back. When you exhale to bow forward, don't hunch, but keep your spine nice and straight, so when you bow forward, you feel the stretch go through your entire body, upper and lower body. Lift your chest, take a breath. Exhale, press those thighs to the mat and bowing towards the wall in front of you. Feel that stretching your lower body and strengthening at the same time. It's also stretching and strengthening your middle back here, those lats, and your shoulders. One more. Lift your chest, take a breath. Exhale, pull those toes in, press those thighs to the mat, and just reach for the wall in front of you with your chest. And you're going to feel that really strengthening in your back. Now you want to bring your hands to your block. Lift with your upper abdominal to bring your upper body to center. Take a breath. Exhale and just rock and roll. Keeping your knees straight here. Use your inner thigh to just rock in and out, in and out. Feel that just loosen up your knees here. Loosen up your ankles and kind of loosen up your hips. Okay. Bobble your knees a little bit. Okay, now we're going to move the block here and bring the soles of your feet together. Okay, and as you bring the soles of your feet together, take your hands and just cup the balls of your feet, just lacing your fingers together here around the ball mounts of your feet. Feel your knees falling open. Push your chest to the sky. Take a breath. Lifting your chest as you inhale, and again, lift your chest as you exhale, pushing it towards the wall in front of you. Now we're just going to walk those hips right in towards your heels a little bit. And now you're feeling the front of your knees stretching out, okay? Your shin, that's your tibialis, stretching out, okay? Again, these balancing muscles in your legs. Push your chest to the sky, take a breath. Lift your chest as you exhale and just open your knees to what feels good to you, and you can feel those hips stretching out, okay? Now we're going to take a new breath with that chest nice and high. And this time as you inhale, lean your upper body towards your left wall. I'll turn this way so you can see a little bit better. Knees out, upper body leaning towards the left wall. Keep your spine as straight as you can and drop your left ear down towards your left shoulder. Lift your right ear up towards the ceiling here. And this stretch is now going into your upper body here as it stretches across your neck, your upper trapezius here, down your shoulder and into your tricep. So keep your chest high, take your breath, lean to the left, lifting that right ear here towards the ceiling, and your left ear down towards the left shoulder. Now, if your neck is really tight, you can kind of rock and roll your neck a little bit here, just to what feels good to you. Keep that breathing going. Keep your chest nice and high here so you feel that stretch move all the way down your neck and down the upper trapezius here and your shoulder here on your right. And just feel it just loosen up that neck and shoulder area. I like to kind of rattle the tricep there on the right, and it loosens up the shoulder and the tricep there, the back of the upper arm. Okay. And when you feel a nice stretch there in that neck and shoulder area here on your right, take a breath. And we're going to lift with the upper abdominal to bring the upper body to center as you inhale. Push your chest forward, exhale, and then we're going to lean to the opposite side with a new breath. Lift that chest as you lean towards your right wall this time. And you want to drop your right ear down towards the right shoulder. Lift your left ear up towards the sky. Feel that stretch moving through your neck here on the left, that upper trapezius, and down that left shoulder into the tricep. Breathe into the places that are tight. Keep your chest high here. Don't slump your chest, but keep your chest up nice and high. And feel that stretch open up your neck. Now, if you're tight in your neck, you can just kind of gently rock your head a little bit. Breathing big here. Move your head in whatever direction feels like it's loosening up your neck, okay? And breathe, breathe, breathe. If your neck is tight, breathe. Drop that shoulder on the left. Feel that stretch move through your neck and your upper trapezius. Now, when you're ready to come out of this stretch, take a new breath. Lifting that upper body here with your upper abdominal to come back to center. Exhale up, lifting your chest as you exhale. Pull your shoulders back and down. And you can feel where those knees have stretched out really good, those hips. And we're going to use that inner thigh to bring those knees together. All right, now let's go ahead and extend both legs. Take a nice deep breath here. And we're just going to run a little bit here with the back of those legs a little bit, and just kind of loosen things up. And when you do this, use your inner thigh to run. Just run with that inner thigh. Now I'm going to turn this way. Maybe you can see me better if I turn this way. Okay. I feel like I can see you better. Okay. Now run with your inner thighs there a little bit. Stretch those legs out. Both heels going towards the wall in front of you. Take a nice deep breath, lifting your chest and cupping the back of your knees. Press your thighs right into the palms, your back of your knees right into the palms of your hands. When you exhale and push your chest to the sky. Now drop your elbows down a little bit so you feel those lats strengthening. Okay. Take a new breath as you lift your chest. And as you exhale again, lift your chest towards the wall in front of you, not down towards the floor, but slightly towards the wall in front of you, not too far. We just want to feel that opening here in the base of your spine. Don't hunch. Keep your chest nice and high. Don't force anything. At the first point of resistance to the stretch, you want to stop and just breathe into the resistance. You're cupping the back of your knees here with the palms of your hands, and you're pulling your shoulders back and down. So there's no pressure in your lower back. You're just kind of gently stretching it out. Okay, one more breath like that. Lift your chest. Gently press the back of your knees into the palms of your hands. And we're going to lift with the upper abdominal here to come to center. All right, so now we're going to just get into some real strengthening here at the base of your stomach. And our boat is a good posture to use with yoga to strengthen the core, the base of your stomach. But I want to do a little bit of conditioning before we do the boat, okay? Roll your ankles here, use your tibialis, use your calf here, roll in one direction, breathing, and then roll back in the other direction, as you want to feel those muscles working to move your feet, okay? All right. Now, let's scoot down on the mat and get the shorter block, not the big thick block, okay, but the shorter block, okay. Now we're going to scoot down here to the front edge of the mat. Hands to the hamstrings, chest to the sky. Take a breath. And as you exhale, we're going to hinge back from your hips. Tuck your chin, round your lower back, and use your abdominal muscles here to lower the vertebra gently to the mat. And when you get your head to the mat, take a breath. Exhale and tilt your pelvis so that you feel your lower back flat to the mat, okay? You want to have your knees up, but you don't want your knees kinked up. You want a little space under your knees so that you can feel your hamstrings catching the weight here. You can feel your quads and your tibialis catching the weight. Don't forget that block, okay? And I'm going to slide the block down to where I can get my foot on it, okay? And keep that angle on my knees, okay? And I don't want to just have the ball of my foot to the block or my heel to the block. I want to have the whole sole of my foot to the block, okay? And I don't want one foot on one end of the block, the other foot on the other end of the block. I want both feet together so that your feet are, and I'm going to turn this way for a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. You don't want just the ball of your foot or your toes on the block. You don't want just your heel on the block. You want the sole of your foot on the block from the ball mount to just before the heel. So it's right at the sole of the foot, okay? And you want to have both feet together. You don't want one foot on either side of the block, but you want both feet together. And that's going to hold those knees together. It's going to hold those thighs together, okay? Because we're going to work the back of the thighs here. We're going to work the tibialis, and we're going to work the calf, okay? So I'm going to turn back here so you can see now. Back flat to the mat here, your lower back, okay? So then you have a nice pelvic tilt, so you're just a nice grip on those core muscles. You want to have both feet on the block. You don't want your knees kinked up here. You want to open them to where you can feel the hamstrings holding this posture. You can feel the inner thighs holding this posture. You can feel the quadriceps holding this posture. And when you press your feet to the block, you don't feel your knee joints. You feel these muscles, and you feel your calf, and you feel your shin muscle when you just gently press your feet to the block. Now hold those thighs together. Rest your palms next to your, flat to the floor here next to your hips. Take a breath. Tilt your pelvis as you exhale. Get a grip on that core, and we're going to tilt the pelvis again to get the hips to rise off the floor. So you're not lifting with your lower back, you're lifting with your glutes here and your hamstrings. And you want to lift until you feel the glutes and the hamstrings really tighten up. Don't arc your back and let your hips fall out. You want to make sure those hips are tucked in nice and tight, okay? And that inner thigh is nice and tight, and those thighs are together. They're not blared out, they're together. And we're going to lift the glutes, holding those thighs together, and then we're going to lower with a rounded back. So we have a nice pelvic tilt as we lower the hips a little bit, not all the way down, just enough to feel them release a little bit. And then tilt that pelvis, squeeze those glutes, and lift again. So that you're really working the thighs here, working the inner thighs, working the back of the thighs here, you're working the outer thighs and the glutes. And then tilt that pelvis when you lower a little bit. Keep that weight right in those thighs, and then pull back up so you're feeling those thighs really working here. The stronger part of your thighs here, your glutes. And then down again, keep those thighs together, and then back up nice and tight here in your glutes. Now that's the third repetition. On that third repetition, we're going to pulse up from there. Up, up, up. So you're really just working these muscles here in the upper part of your thighs and in your glutes here, and these are all the muscles that support your lower back. Now we'll hold the hips up and lower the upper vertebra towards the mat, keeping those hips up.
Don't touch the floor. We're going to come back up with those glutes nice and high, but don't arc your back. Squeeze. And then down again, but not all the way. You don't want to drop. You want to keep those hips up and then squeeze up again. And one more. Not all the way, squeeze up. And we're going to hold that angle now. And from there, we're going to squeeze up, up, up. Squeeze those thighs together and up. Hold it up there. And we're going to lower the upper vertebra to the mat. Keep those hips up until that last vertebra touches the mat so you feel that core working to rest your lower back. When your lower back rests, take a breath. You can really feel where that has worked here in your lower body, and it will strengthen your lower back. Okay, and we're going to bring those knees now one at a time right in towards your heart. Bring your right knee to your right shoulder and loop your elbow around the hamstrings. Left knee to the left shoulder, loop your elbow around the hamstrings. Open your knees. Pull your shoulders down when you bend your elbows with your bicep and give a gentle press to the back of your thighs here with your forearms. Just enough to just release the tension here in the hips and the lower back. Roll your ankles a little bit and breathe. And you can really feel where those hips have worked, okay? And you want to breathe into that. This is where your life force is stored in your body. You want to make sure you're breathing that energy up and out through the upper body, through the heart, the thyroid, and the brain. I like to roll my ankles there, and it helps to loosen up the back of the legs. Again, pull your shoulders down and gently, gently press to the back of those thighs with those forearms, bending your elbows with your biceps so you feel a gentle strengthening here in the upper body and a nice release here in your lower body. Now we're going to release the pressure at the back of your thighs. Take a breath and bring those knees in. All right, hug your shins. Take a breath and press. And as you press, just kind of draw your knees in here. We're going to take a new breath. Exhale, pull your shoulders down. Roll your chin into the hollow in your throat and lift your shoulders off the mat with the upper abdominal. Draw your knees in with the lower abdominal and stretch it all the way out. Now, the good stretch for your spine here. Inhale to come down. Keep that chin tucked in. Resting the base of your skull to the mat, we're going to just open up here and just rock now from side to side. Just rock your knees gently here from side to side. And this is going to just kind of loosen up that lower back because we did a really good workout in that lower back. Now I want you to just roll your knees from left to right in a tiny, tiny circle here. So you're just massaging right there into your lower back. Inhale when the knees roll away from you. Exhale, flex your heels and bring them in. And just keep this little circle right in the hollow in your lower back. Breathe in deep when the knees roll away. Exhale, use your core. Don't pull with your arms. Use your core to bring your knees back up and around. We're going to 3 to 4 rotations in one direction and then go back 3 to 4 rotations in the opposite direction. This is one of your go-tos, especially when you want to loosen up your hips and lower back.